Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Shannin Schroeder. I am the president of the board, and I have also served for years as chair of the Scholarships and Awards Committee. Let me introduce my fellow presenters, and then we'll move on. First of all, we have Amy Gates, who is Scholarships and Awards Chair and also serves as the Midwestern Regent. We have Felicia Steele, who is Services and Partnerships Chair and is our Eastern Regent. And then joining us for the Q&A session will be Kevin Stemmler, who serves as Officer at Large, but has also been on both of those committees and has considerable experience with the awards. So I'll turn it over to Amy.
Thank you. It's nice to have so many of you joining us this evening. We're excited about all of the opportunities that Sigma Tau Delta has for you and hope you take advantage of them. So you might know that we have several award cycles. We're just entering the spring 2024 award cycle, but we also have fall, winter, summer application cycles, so keep your eye on those. Spring is our biggest award cycle, so there are lots of opportunities right now. It opens up on March 11th and it runs through April 15th when everything is due in award spring. Our spring cycle results are then announced in May, and you would get the funds dispersed to your university in August. So that gives you a sense of the timeline. So as you think about applying for these awards, as is always true, read the instructions carefully because it does matter that you do all of the steps and answer the questions. So follow the directions, answer the prompts, pay attention to what is being asked of you, which does suggest to you you should plan ahead. Don't open that up on April 14th or April 15th and try to finish it in a hurry. So the deadline is April 15th, and it is at 4 p.m. Central Time. So that is also something to pay attention to. Those of us who live by 11:59 p.m. Cannot abide by that for this deadline. You can start your application and it saves it, and you can return to your session multiple times. So you can give yourself time to come in and out and keep working on your application. You'll also ask for letters of recommendation, and it is a courtesy and a good habit to ask your recommenders in plenty of time. So give them at least 2 weeks to write a good letter for you. When you rush them, they rush their letters, and that doesn't serve either of you as well. Their letters are due a week after your application is due, so they're due April 22nd. So you can see we have a large number of opportunities in the spring award cycle, including scholarships and grants and internships. We will not be talking about all of those individually in detail tonight, but if you go onto the website, and we'll have that link for you later, you'll be able to click on these and find out more about each item and see if that fits you. I think what's really important to remember is we do have something available for every member in the organization. So if you are continuing on or returning to university or going to grad school, there's something for you here. So click around and you can find it. And here is a screenshot of that overview of the scholarships page, and you can see that you can click on the links there to learn more. Each one has slightly different requirements, so you'll want to read through those carefully before you get started. And back to Shannin.
Thank you, Amy. So I want to take just a second and sort of tell you about Award Spring, which is the platform that we use for all scholarships, all awards, all grants, and our internships. So this is a useful tool. It's relatively user-friendly. And so, we are here, of course, to answer any questions that you have. But in general, using Award Spring is simple and straightforward. The additional benefit, Amy just showed you sort of at a glance the opportunities we have for you. Award Spring will actually determine which awards, which scholarships, which grants you are eligible for. And so it does some of the legwork for you. You'll see that we do include descriptions of and eligibility for those awards within Award Spring, so you can learn more about them as you're looking through the list. The general application, Award Spring will provide you with applications and is going to match you, but then it's going to ask you some follow-up questions, and we want you to respond to those. Think back to Amy's words before, to use care and attention when you fill those in. You are competing with an amazing pool of candidates, and so you really want to put your best foot forward. Responding to the essay questions, listing your faculty recommenders, all of that helps to put together an application that really helps you to shine. This is what you'll see when you go to Award Spring the first time. You'll see that you can sign in. You can, of course, create an account if you haven't. But I want to pause here just a second and ask you to look at the people on the screen. These are not stock photos, right? These are students who, like you, have entered and, in their cases, been accepted for awards and scholarships. So the students sitting virtually here next to you, the depth and breadth of this group of students is really remarkable. So I like it that we've sampled just a few of the actual recipients here. This is inside actual Award Spring. So you can see it's very straightforward. This is your dashboard, and it's going to give you updates, right? One item required for completion here. That dashboard then is the place to which you return as you add elements to your application. And then if we look at the next screen, right, the application itself, again, you'll see it's relatively straightforward. Intuitive, user-friendly. The checkbox, examples you see here are things that you should be able to answer for yourself, and then you will later see some places where you can include essay materials in the more complicated pieces. All right, back to Amy.
Back to me. Yes, so when you get ready for your essays, you'll see these prompts. We always offer prompts that have some connection to our upcoming convention theme, which we have done again this year. For the first time ever, we have a third option that's connected to our centennial celebration. You will just choose one of them. You don't have to write 3 essays, but pick the essay that you think you can respond to best. Use your writing skills to show and not tell. We read a lot of applications, and we are humans on the other end of this, so we appreciate good and interesting writing. So wow us.
So you've just heard about the scholarship programs that can support your academic work, but Sigma Tau Delta also has many opportunities that support your professional development, particularly support of your professional development through internships. And so we have 2 different kinds of internship support. One kind are our internship stipends. And so if you are seeking and have found an internship with a nonprofit organization that's not going to pay you particularly well, or if you have lots of transportation costs to get to an internship, then you can apply for an internship stipend. We have internship stipends available in all of our award cycles, not just for the summer. You can get up to $1,500 worth of funding. And so the eligibility for this is very similar to all of our other programs, right? You have to be an active chapter member in good standing. But the most important thing to remember about this is that we aren't able to use internship stipends to support things that are part of degree requirements. For example, we have thousands and thousands of very well qualified, well deserving people who are Sigma Tau Delta members who are going to be doing student teaching. So we could never provide enough funding to support experiences like this. And it can't support something where you're being paid by your institution, like in a graduate assistantship. So some advice about the internship stipend. Make sure that you're presenting your professional face to the evaluators. Make sure your resume is well formatted, and that in your application materials, you answer how this internship is going to help you grow intellectually and professionally. Take the budget really, really seriously. When you go to the internship stipend site, and again, we'll give you links to all these things at the end, but you can find it through the internships tab on english.org. We have examples of budgets that you can click, and you can look at how to format a budget, what kinds of materials to use, and how to make estimates. As with the scholarships, your recommendation letters are due 1 week after the application deadline. You have to have at least one letter of recommendation from a college faculty member who knows you well and who can explain how this internship lines up with your goals. Make sure you provide the recommender with advance notice, and make sure that they are clear on what they are recommending you for. You're going to want to ask people to differentiate between letters that they're going to submit for scholarships and letters that they're going to submit for internship stipends, right? Because they're different audiences. We also have partnership internship opportunities. Now, with the partnerships, you get either a priority interview or you are being evaluated by people at the actual organization. So we've had a partnership with the National Council of Teachers of English for a few years. This year, the internship is a publishing internship. And so if you have an interest in book and journal publications, particularly publications that are intended for teachers, you should apply. And so this is a remote internship, and there's going to be $1,300 in combined stipends between what NCTE offers you and what we offer. And the internship will begin in early July. Make sure that you highlight in your cover letter why this opportunity is important to you and how it helps your career after graduation. With all publishing cover letters, you actually have a little bit more space than you likely have heard you have with business cover letters, right? You really have an opportunity to go for over a page and explain why you want this internship, what you think you're going to get from it. And this is your place to demonstrate that you really understand something about the organization. You would submit your resume, or if you have been a teacher, your CV, and one letter of recommendation. And NCTE insists that this letter of recommendation come from a chapter advisor, a professor of English, or a professor of journalism, because they really want somebody who can speak to your writing. Now, we also are very lucky that we have a partner who is also coincidentally celebrating their 100th anniversary, W.W. Norton. And so the summer internship dates are still a little up in the air. We are hoping to have those soon. This is for students who are interested in publishing, but specifically college publishing, for college textbooks, especially the writing curriculum. And this is a paid internship, and there is an additional stipend for the priority candidates who win the internship. Depending on where you are in the country, this can be either remote or in person. You're going to submit 2 applications. First, you'll submit to us by April 15th, and then you will submit to W.W. Norton, and they will make the final decisions with their interviews. So it's really important to understand that this particular internship is one where Sigma Tau Delta gets you a priority interview. It's not that we have a Sigma Tau Delta intern guaranteed at W.W. Norton or our other major publishing house program, which is Penguin Random House. And that cycle is over, and we'll have other opportunities to apply to those later in the year. So you'll want to include a cover letter. You're going to have 2 short essay questions that we encourage you to take really seriously. And we also encourage you to reflect on them and think about how you can move some of that information into your cover letter. One is going to be about your leadership and your experience and how your career aspirations align with W.W. Norton's mission and the kind of text that you'll be working with as an editorial assistant. So we also have other internship opportunities, the Sigma Tau Delta Journal internship, which is offered during the winter cycle. So this would be something you'd want to look forward to like next fall, as well as the Penguin Random House. And we also have a program affiliation with the Washington Internship. All this information is going to be on the website and in social media posts and footnotes. So make sure to pay attention to organizational updates.
So let me pause for just a second and say that, we move you through this relatively quickly for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's nighttime. And we want to make this fast and efficient for you. But we also want to be here for specific questions. So in just a minute, after we go through these last 2 slides, you'll see a Q&A opportunity, and we want to encourage you to take advantage of that. You have, really knowledgeable people pinned down right now, and your question probably helps others here in the webinar as well. I also want to assure you that this is being recorded and will be available to you. And we'll also make the slides themselves available. So that means you do not need to have a pen and paper out right now. You're not required to take a picture of this screen and desperately try to make sure you have all of these links. Not only, as Felicia pointed out, not only are they available to us, or to you rather, on the website, but they'll also be available in those slides. So take it easy and relax. This is just a quick overview of important sites for the scholarships, awards, and grants. You'll see we do have a link here to AwardSpring. There is an overview. You saw that grid earlier with Amy. You'll have an opportunity to look through that more carefully and to click on specific links to learn the history, to understand what those scholarships will require of you, and to understand what kind of person is eligible for that scholarship. And then we also have Lambda Iota Tau research grants. I want to give these a special shout out. They do not get much play. That's a good thing for people who are interested in trying to find some research money to work at the Folger, to make it to UT Austin and look at the Gabriel Garcia Marquez collection that they have if you're doing research. So I urge you to take a minute and look at the Lit research grants. They are really worth your time if you are doing research. The internships here, again, you heard Felicia go through those. Here are just some of the highlights, links to get you back to the website. The overview there, the journal internships, which just wrapped up their cycle, will soon have announcements for the journal interns who are coming into our folds, and we're really looking forward to having them on board. The internship stipend, you can see those dates are approaching, which is exactly why we're here now to answer your questions before those open. And I think our last page may be, ta-da, Q&A. So we're going to invite Kevin Stemmler out onto the virtual stage to join us here. Again, we are open to any questions you might have about the process, about specific scholarships. We'll do what we can to answer, or we will find you answers later and get back to you. So what questions do you have for us?
And I'll add, if you're looking for the Q&A box, it's someone's found it. Good job. It's the tiny little Q and two little speech bubbles up on the upper right.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, so college publishing refers to the kinds of textbooks that you would see in college classes. So there are some anthologies that the division that with Norton that we work with works on. So they work on the Norton freshman writing materials. I think that it's also called the Seagull anthology. So it's not, none of the literary texts that you would be working with are texts that are being published for the first time. I hope that makes it clear, right? So the literary texts that you might be working with are always going to be reprints. So you know, these are always texts that are coming from other, from well-established sources. But you would mostly be working with textbooks that are intended for writing composition curricula.
All right. Looks like the next question is about publishing opportunities. We mentioned the journal Internships, and of course that implies the existence of journals, but we didn't mention that, and we should, right? We're always inviting aspiring writers to submit to our journal publications. We have the rectangle and we have the review. So we have an opportunity for creative writers to get published, to get their toes wet, but also to be eligible for awards, right? And then we also allow critical essays. So we publish critical essays too. So yes, there are opportunities through Sigma Tau Delta. Sorry, I almost got my school plug in there. Through Sigma Tau Delta for our aspiring writers. Absolutely.
And we've been reminded that there's going to be a journal submission Q&A with Carrie King, our editor, on April 9th. So keep your eyes out for that announcement and register for it.
Okay.
So in terms of the financial situation, no, for most of them, you just apply, although we do have a new Regents Equity scholarship that after you meet other qualifications, it does ask you if you are Pell eligible. So it gives one more scholarship we're able to give out, and that one is attending to people who have specific financial need, but I don't think any others are financially dependent on financial situation. Correct me if I'm wrong about that.
No, that's right.
You're correct.
And that is a new opportunity. I'm glad you mentioned that it's new this year, in fact. Who wants to take?
Just to pop in, we all jump in. So students who are benefiting from the scholarships have to be enrolled in the fall. But students who are graduating in the spring are eligible to apply for the internship support and the internship opportunities. So those programs do accept recent graduates. If you're continuing on, however, into a different academic program next year, you would be eligible for the senior scholarship, which covers folks who are graduating and are going to be going to graduate school.
I also want to give a quick plug for the Somerville, which is intended for students who are graduating, who are going to be newly in a classroom, and you have an opportunity to receive some funding. It simply goes in your pocket. It is useful to new teachers. We know how often teachers pay out of pocket for materials, and so it's intended to help support those new teachers in the classroom and beyond it.
So yes, our scholarship essays are read blind. And when I said we are humans reading them, I meant more than the three of us. We have a whole lot of people who volunteer to do that and get assigned to different scholarships. People are not assigned to their own students. If your advisor is one of the readers, they wouldn't be reading your scholarship. And for the advisors who are joining us tonight, please do consider when you get the survey asking if you'd be willing. We are always looking to share this opportunity and wait to read our students' scholarships and applications for all sorts of things. So we rely on a lot of help for that. So because we have a lot of applications.
As we all simultaneously go,
It depends, of course, right, David? It depends on how you want to be recognized. Obviously, submitting to the journals is one way that we can help to recognize you. Participate in first your regional or local leadership opportunities, and then move into potentially a national student leader opportunity. Those are ways, I guess, to advertise yourself, if you will. If you're selling yourself as committed to Sigma Tau Delta, and some scholarships, for example, the William C. Johnson Scholarship really emphasizes the amount of work and effort you've put toward Sigma Tau Delta in particular. That's one place then where you advertise, here's the work I've done at the local and national and regional levels.
Yeah, I would also add to that I would advertise how much work I've done at the chapter level. For any of the scholarships, internships, awards that you apply for, that's a very important thing to highlight. Don't just list that maybe you were an officer, but how you participated actively in your department and your university. But also attending convention or presenting a convention is worth mentioning anytime you apply for a scholarship or award. We'd like to see that you made every effort maybe to be recognized at the convention as well.
I'd like to pop in with one more thing. These are not the only opportunities for funding from Sigma Tau Delta. So one thing that we also fund on a different cycle are project grants. And so, if you have a project that you want to fund, then that would be a great opportunity. And for those of you, I see a lot of folks who are from Southern New Hampshire and David, you're about 1.5 miles from my campus at TCNJ. But, if you are from a campus that doesn't necessarily have an active chapter, or you're not resident on your campus, then look for the chapter that's nearest by. And you can always get involved in, chapter events or chapter service projects at neighboring institutions.
So this next question, up here on the screen is really an interesting one for me. I mentioned earlier the LIT grants, and I think someone going into or currently in an MFA program could really take advantage of a research grants, to do specific location vetting. If you can justify its use and application to what you plan to do as a career, to what you're doing in the classroom, that would absolutely be an option for you. But yes, we do have graduate scholarships intended both for the person who's going into graduate school for the first time, directly out of an undergrad program. But we also have scholarship money available for graduate students who are continuing in graduate programs.
So for resumes, one of the things to keep in mind is that you want resumes that are going to be nicely legible, but that are also relevant to the position that you're looking for. And so often, you want to think not only about what kind of work experience you've had, but what kind of skills you've gained from your on-campus experiences or your classes, right? So even if you haven't necessarily been working in publishing, if you have volunteered with a literacy charity or you tutor in a writing center, those things are really valuable and need to be reflected on your resume. So think more about the effective presentation of information rather than flashiness. I know a lot of people are using Canva to format documents that are lovely and beautiful, but they have tons and tons of white space and aren't necessarily geared toward encouraging people to look for information. If you have a local career center, they will have examples of resumes that are for different industries, and I would look to them for really good models.
And could I add, Felicia, that like the cover letters for our fields, in publishing, in academia, we often have a longer resume or a CV that goes more than one page. And that's something you're told not to do for most job applications. But if you have a lot to say that is going to be relevant and important, take a page and a half or 2 pages if that's what you need.
So let me just cover this one very quickly. Yes, yes, there are always specific requirements. The nice thing about AwardSpring is that when you put in your information, it will help you understand which of the scholarship opportunities you already qualify for. So those requirements, which are listed on our webpage, they are available for each and every scholarship. But sometimes that's a bit overwhelming or it's hard to keep that all in your head. AwardSpring will help you parse out those requirements and make sure that you're applying for the things you're eligible for.
So unfortunately for the internship, the publishing internships, then the answer is those are some of those doors are closed because the internships require the same kind of employment documents that other things might have. But for the scholarships, the answer would be no. And so that it wouldn't affect, or it would depend on which scholarship program you're applying for.
Thanks for answering that for both.
That is a good question.
Yes.
I believe there will be an email sent out, so keep watching your footnotes emails and your emails from the central office, which will probably give you the link that you need for that. And wait, just in. We have from the person who really knows, it will be emailed and posted on the website. So I was right on track, but our director of communications knows these things. And other things. I probably got her title wrong. Katie Mudd is amazing.
Yes.
Amy, do you want to answer this?
Yeah, I'm reading through this. Yeah, they are considered individually, so we, aren't sorting you out. So there's only one winner per chapter necessarily. So sure, if a couple of you or more of you in a chapter are qualified and interested, go for it. They are judged blind. They're spread out, so it's completely possible that you wouldn't even be in the initial same batches of readers. So don't stop yourselves from applying.
The one not exception to that exactly, but the Regent opportunities, the Regent Equity Scholarship and the Regent Scholarship are awarded by region. That's as close as we get to making something specific to, say a region. But within your chapter, whether one person applies and one person is awarded a scholarship, or 10 people apply and 10 are awarded a scholarship. It simply is based on the scholarship and the materials that we can see. Yeah.
So we do have alumni who continue to be in conversation. Shannon, I don't know if you would want to say more about that.
I can try. I think Kevin also may be able to speak to this one, but we do have alumni representatives who join us on the board. So each year or each 2 years, we add an alumni rep to the board specifically to work with, someone who's no longer a member of a chapter. And I know that we reach out to those students through things like Discord, if that makes sense to you. Great. But also through alumni-specific groups in Facebook. And Katie is going to give me more information. She suggests that you check out blogs for alumni for their opportunities. We literally just sent out in a recent mailing, I'm graduating, now what? Alumni opportunities with Sigma Tau Delta. And that is on wordybynature.org. So that is a good place to start answering this question. And it's certainly not the end of the line, Diana, not at all. Anyone else want to add to that?
I just wanted to add that there's also a LinkedIn network on that's related to Sigma Tau Delta, and that's a very good place to look for people who are in the same career as you.
My advice to the next question for Abby is, if it's possible at all, to attend the convention. It gives you an opportunity to make a lot of connections and to talk to other people who are going into graduate programs, as well as a lot of students who are currently in graduate programs. And so that and the research and the round opportunities that we offer might be another way of thinking about how you approach research as you prepare for graduate programs.
In addition to the national convention or international convention, we also have regional conventions, and those regional opportunities will give you the same networking capability, but they tend to be virtual or closer to home for you. And so that will help you as well as you look into pursuing research.
you may have asked us a question that is beyond our knowledge. Are you looking, it depends on what kind of internship you're looking for. We probably don't have as much to offer for business administration, but if you're looking for something with that degree that is writing intensive, then lean into your writing credentials and what Sigma Tau Delta has helped you learn and do with yourself. I guess is how I would frame that from our perspective. Of course, you should also go talk to your people in the business department about what they can tell you from that side of things. But
well, and I would also recommend to think about business more broadly. I mean, one of the things that is good about Sigma Tau Delta partnerships is that many of our partnerships are with nonprofits, right? With NCTE is a nonprofit. So, but they still need people who do administration. So, one thing to do is to expand your search outside of the corporate world and look for internships with local nonprofits or with local governments as well.
Well, we have lots of advice here. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think just today or just recently, Katie could correct me on this. One of the student advisors just posted a blog on presenting at the convention. So you may want to check that out. It's Caitlin Sass's presentation. I believe it might be at Wordy by Nature. So check that out. It's great.
Yeah. So wordybynature.org.
And Katie is dropping some of these links into the chat too, so you can grab those. There is a web page on the English Convention website that's a separate website from just English.org, and that is about presenting at convention as well. I think one thing I would say out loud to all of you is that this is a super friendly audience. People are wanting to hear what you have to say. Your papers have been vetted, so you're not trying something out that nobody has seen before. So that the judges who have evaluated these thought you should be at the convention. So be confident about that. And then know the people in the room are not out to get you. They really want to know what you have to say, and they will ask questions that you can manage about what you're thinking. And if you don't know the answer, the tried and true thing is, that's a great question. I'll need to think about it. And that will be fine. Everyone will understand and think that's perfectly right.
Thank you so much for being willing to bring that up. I know that it's such a real question right now, right? How do I market myself? How do I get a job? And we're feeling for you and rooting for you. I think that brings us to the end of the questions that we have waiting for us. If we don't see any that we missed maybe in the chat.
There are a few coming in just now from Diana Counts.
Good.
So I'll just read it for us. So one that just popped in, I currently work for a nonprofit in Columbia, South Carolina as a benefits counselor for 5 years now called SC Thrive. Does anyone know who would be a good go-to person to speak with on elevating in this sector, or which direction would be best to take? I can read the question, but I cannot answer it.
Well, I'm teaching a careers class. Actually, one of my students is in the group tonight. But so she's tired of hearing me talk about these kinds of things. But wherever you have your degree from, almost every institution has a career center. And those services tend to still be available to alumni. So that would be the place that I would start. But then the next step would be to look for other people in the area who, through networks like LinkedIn or through the alumni Discord, and to sort of, first you can just ask them about their career path and about how they moved up the ladder or found additional opportunities. But, going back to your career center and asking for some consultation is perfectly appropriate.
Absolutely. Abby, that's wonderful. I will drop my email address into the chat so that you can get in touch with me if you have questions you think we can answer. You can also always get to us through Sigma TD or Sigma TD Apply at niu.edu. So essentially, on those screens, right, we showed you the grids. At the bottom, there will be a, do you need help? Do you have questions? And the central office staff will help to get your questions into the right hands, for sure. But I'll definitely add my personal contact here, if I can type.
I would like to mention that any activities you do, whether it's presenting at a regional campus, national, international conference or convention, make sure you put those on your resume. Any activities you do for service with Sigma Tau Delta really should be highlighted as well. But really take advantage of your membership in this organization. And make sure it stands out. That's one of the things I would emphasize. I'm sure other people have some other ideas too.
I want to echo what Felicia, I think, had to say earlier about function over form. I love a beautiful document as much as anyone else, and Canva is a delight. But that said, I would rather see you do something simpler and have more to say. Like Kevin said, sell, even the activities that you consider small will impress, right? I cannot tell you how many times I've judged an application where the only mention of Sigma Tau Delta was being admitted as a member. And you're not telling us whether that means that's literally all you've done or, more likely forgetting to reference your leadership, your service, the amount of money you single-handedly raised for something in town, for example. I mean, we want those details.
And even if you don't single-handedly raise a lot of money in town, I think it's fun if you haven't been an officer yet, if you're kind of a new member and haven't had that kind of named leadership opportunities. If you worked 3 hours at the book sale, or if you've attended every meeting and have offered some suggestions that the group enjoyed, those are not things you'll put on resumes for jobs down the road, but that tells your audience here that you know what Sigma Tau Delta is doing and that you're involved in it.
And please know that every single one of your officers and your advisors would welcome any suggestion for any kind of programming or opportunity on campus if you're willing to do the work, right? So I've kind of startled a couple of my own students when they say, it would be great if we have a book club. Okay, well, do it, right? There's nothing stopping you from doing it. So take advantage of those opportunities. You don't need to have an officer title to do programming for your chapter.
I see a couple of thank yous here, and you are welcome. We are on behalf of all of the presenters here. We are excited to have an opportunity to talk more about the sort of giving back that we do. We have so many scholarship dollars, grant dollars, award dollars, internship dollars to give out, and we want them in your hands. Do you have anything else that we should say to wrap up? Some people have gone off to eat dinner by now, maybe. So
I would say that if you think I'd kind of like to apply for one of these, but I'm just not sure, take out the just not sure and do it. Try it out. Even if you don't end up with the scholarship, doing the application is a good experience. It helps you build on, kind of be aware of what you know and maybe what you want to do before you apply for the next one. It's not wasted time to apply for a scholarship. And if you're an advisor, encourage your students to apply, and please also consider joining us as we evaluate these, because it can be a lot of fun to find out what students are doing.
All right. I think I get to say thank you and goodbye. Thank you again specifically to Felicia and to Amy and to Kevin, but also behind the scenes, just off stage, to Naaman and to Katie for helping to make this event possible. We're very grateful to you, and also to the people who participated today. So thank you. Have a good evening.